Welcome to the channel's book club. This amazing graphic novel, titled June 12, 1993, Annulment, was written by Abraham Oshoko. Abraham has successfully created this incredible work of literary art and history that we all should read and own if we are keen on learning about an important aspect of Nigeria's modern history. He joined the channel's book club to review this second of his graphic novels. Please join us after this break.
It opens with a gate of arts, moves into windows of creativity.
She finds the only English word she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of a 4'9" body, and instead of "I won't get," she greets us with "bye bye."
Branches into rooms of color, and ends with a roof of imagination.
Walk into Art House. The pieces all come together at 9:30 p.m. every Saturday. Art House, life is art.
Somebody said this on page 3, actually it's Ganifa Wehimi, and he said, Babangida is not going in August. That's August 1993, okay? I once did a research work on this his I will go. According to him, when he came in 1995, his pronouncement is that they will not stay a day longer than necessary. One cannot determine what that expression meant. In 1986, he said it would be 1990. Then came a few months before 1990 when he changed it to October 1st, 1992. In parentheses, it says, and that was even part of our law, section 333 of the 1989 Constitution, which refers to not later than 1st of October 1992. Before we got there, he changed it again to January 1993. It is now August 27th, 1993. How can I trust a man like that? Late Ganifa Wehimi, human rights activist and a senior advocate of Nigeria, in an interview with Tell magazine, August 1993.
Okay. Why did you choose to tell the story in graphical form?
First of all, I'm a writer and I'm also an artist. And interestingly, this genre of work, normally it's called graphic novels, and it's not very common in Africa, but it's common all over the world, Japan, America, and the rest of those other places, but except that they've not used it to tell this type of story too before. So while writing, then there's the factor of Nigerians don't like to read, and where they do, so if you want to get people who don't like to read, you have to give them incentives. So that's where the pictures come in. and the colors and the rest of them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Abraham, you've broken ground here.
Thank you.
You've broken ground here.
Thank you.
How many photos? How many drawings?
Okay, panels.
Yeah. Did you use to create this?
Actually,
Because the pages are, if I remember well, okay, you've got 283 pages
yeah.
of drawings.
Yeah.
How many? Do you have numbers in your head
Actually,
now?
I didn't think about that. It should be hundreds and hundreds of panels. Okay. You know, and coupled with, you have to drop images of people that must look like them, whether they frown or they smile and stuff like that. It's not one person or two or three or four or five, you know, so that's even more difficult than drawing, you know.
How long did it take you to write this?
Research and writing, I think it took 1.5 years. Illustrations and coloring and inking and the rest took the remaining, is that 2.5 years now to make 4?
4, so
Yeah.
a total of 4 years.
It's a total of 4 years.
Okay, but tell me, what kind of research? How did you
Okay.
go about the research? Because while I was reading it, I noticed you were detailed.
Yeah.
You know, I could personally remember some of the facts here, and there was quite a number of others that I couldn't, that were new to me
Okay.
while I was reading. How did you go about the research? What did it take? I'm sure you had to read books, you had to
Yeah.
interview people.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, books, and lots of books. If you look at the bibliography, there were no less than 10 books, apart from news magazines of that era, you know, and you will have to, or one will have to sift through fact and fiction, because sometimes people's views could be colored, or people's reportage rather could be colored by their personal views. So you need to cross-reference to be certain of what you are presenting as the truth and nothing but the truth, at least as far as the public is concerned. You know, so I was at the news library. I was at Tell magazine library, you know, and I got materials from 1993 to 1999. You know, I have them in my studios where I work, and several other books from all the sides. People who were close to General Babangida wrote, people that were close to Abacha wrote, you know, and several other people who were just independent minded also wrote. People on the side of Abiola wrote, people on the side of Nadeko wrote, you know, and there were some biographies also, if you could call them that. You know, there were some materials on how Ibru was shot, details of what happened and all of that. So those are things that one will read, then you then begin to think, how then do I fuse them together to form a story? It's like a sculptor, you know, and sincerely, it's beyond me to fully explain, you know, but I just want to believe that sometimes, of course, inspiration is not a thing that you can just explain like that. It has to be a higher force, you know, a higher power. Or if I will use it in a plain language, the Spirit of God, breathing on you and helping you to fuse together, because there were so many parts, really. There's so many parts. When I did the first volume, one of the things that assaulted me was the amount of information available. And I was confused. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was 27 then. You know, so it was so much. You can barely tell yourself, if I go this way. So initially I was thinking of doing almost like 10 volumes, then I reduced it to 6. Now I want to just try and reduce it to like 3 or 4, you know, because things have happened in this country. Yeah.
Now, what about your personal experience while researching and writing this book? I'm sure there were certain realizations that dawned on you about Nigeria.
There were several.
What was that experience like? What dawned on you? What hit you the most while you were putting this material together about Nigeria?
The first thing is I became very sober, you know, and at some point you're just shocked, and you're shocked beyond words. At some point you're just numb. You know, you just don't know what to do or what to say. You know, and vows were made. You know, I told myself I will not be in politics. You know, not because there's nothing I can do for my country. I love this country. and I'll contribute my quota. You know, and not because something is wrong with politicians, but Nigeria, to rule Nigeria is a very complex issue, you know, and no matter how people want to simplify it, you know, just explain it away or lighten it, it's not easy, you know, and that's what I found out. Of course, you find out also that I didn't make judgments. I didn't judge anybody. People are just people. I won't tell you who is good or who is bad. I leave that to the discretion of the reader to decide for himself. Because the moment a writer starts to tell you who the villain is and who the hero is and all of that, then it's no longer objective. So then of course there's pain also, you know, pain. And another thing is resolve. That, okay, I will tell this story. At least I'll report what I know to be the truth of what happened. Yeah.
Where were you on the 12th of June?
Which year?
1993.
I'm sure I can't even remember the date, you know, because I was 13 at the time. But I remember all the Abacha stove and all the riots and them taking us out of school and stuff like that, you know.
Okay.
Those are the things I can remember.
Were you in Lagos then?
I was in Lagos. My family is based in Lagos. I was in Lagos.
What have the reactions been like since you got this out? Have you had people accusing you of not being objective? Have you had people, what kind of reactions have you had? Have you had reactions from the Abiola family, the Babangida side?
Well, I haven't heard from General Babangida. Probably a copy hasn't been sent to him, you know. But the response has been very encouraging. Even if I don't make money, you know, I feel fulfilled that I did something that's worthwhile, you know. And I see pride in the eyes of Nigerians that a Nigerian can do this, you know. And for me, I will use this medium to say that it's not me. I want everybody that's watching to see this as what they can do. I'm not saying this art work, but whatever it is that you do, that we're Nigerians or that we're blacks doesn't mean that we are less than other people. And until we begin to aspire, you know, to actually know that we're not less than other human beings, we're just different. And we won't begin to appreciate ourselves and what we have. But the responses have been very good. I've been reading on the internet, on newspapers and all of that, and people they are not just like full of praises. And of course, nobody accused me. You know, the only thing one person accused me of is that I was a bit soft on Babangida. That's the word that the person used, and I said no.
Soft on Babangida.
I wasn't soft on Babangida. I just wrote what happened. You know, because if we're not objective, sometimes it may be very, very difficult when you hear some names. You just cross them out of your mind. You know, because you're dogmatic. You don't even want to listen and all of that. But we may need to look beyond our hate so that lessons from history can be learned. You know, and we can be able to do things properly. But the response has been very, very encouraging. Has been very, very good.
Where are you going next? There's a sequel to this.
Yeah, there's a sequel. What I can't fully say is whether it's one book or two books. But if it's more than one book, it's not going to be more than two books, because I need to move on. There are other stories on Nigeria that need to be told.
Okay.
And of course, the next ones will be far more interesting than this, you know, because that's from 1994 to 95, 96.
And more stormy.
Of course.
Channels Television presents the Channels Book Club Prize for Literature, where one student in Nigeria stands a chance of winning the top prize of a sponsored trip to the 2013 Frankfurt Book Fair in Frankfurt, Germany, 50,000 Naira worth of books and exciting consolation prizes for the runners-up. How to participate? Candidates should read and write not more than 1,500 words on Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. The submitted essay must have a title, the candidate's full name, contact number, school, principal's name and contact. Essays should be sent to the Channels Book Club at channelstv.com. For further information, visit www.channelstv.com or call Kunle on 080-333-20974 or Orelua on 0813-845-7084. Entry closes August the 31st, 2013. The Channels Book Club Prize for Literature, supported by Lufthansa German Airline, the Turner Books and Goethe Institute.
You'll meet two very impressive young men who decide to reawaken the reading culture of Nigerians in a very creative way. They are the founders of YimuCentral.com, a media publishing company involved in free, online, and traditional publishing of speculative fiction and non-fiction with emphasis on cartoon or graphical illustrations. These two social entrepreneurs further remind us of how talented young Nigerians are. Thank you for coming on the Channels Book Club.
Thank you very much.
What you're doing is very interesting. Can you tell us about this YimuCentral.com?
Yes, Yimu Central is a website that publishes stories online. Just recently we went into, we're going into traditional publishing. And what actually led to the birth of Yimu Central was the need to actually revive the reading and writing culture of Nigerians, because we noticed that it was fast declining. And me, for example, I really have this difficulty when it comes to reading books. You know, I easily lose interest midway through, and I thought about it. I said, okay, well, how can we make reading interesting? How can we make it fun again? How can we get people to actually key into this very, very vital thing? And then I spoke with my friend, Otuke. Otuke is an editor, he's a writer, and I said, I'm a web designer and a graphics designer. I can build this website. It's going to be affordable. All I just need is for us to team up together, and then you do all the writings, and then what we'll basically try to do is actually focus on illustrations, kind of like comic books, so to speak, you know, like Ali and Simbi of old, you know, and then we said, okay, we can actually make it fun. Another thing, another element we tried to put in was we actually publish in series. So we have long stories, so people don't get bored, you know, reading it like most people have. We say we'll publish it in series, but what we try to do is that each series actually ends in a very, very thrilling and suspense-filled way. Yeah, that makes you want more. And then we said, okay, we'll be publishing every episode, like new episodes every week, and then we'll spice it up with a lot of, you know, very nice graphical illustrations and cartoons. And it was really impressive, because the first day of our launch, we had 5,000 views. We had actually anticipated like 5,000 probably in the entire year. You know, we had 5,000 in just one day, and in a week we had like 10,000 views.
More than that.
Yeah, more than 10,000 views. So the site literally crashed because we exceeded our bandwidth, you know, so we had to get something bigger. And from then till now, it's like 7 months, because we launched it on the 1st of January this year. We've had over 250,000 views. And a lot of people sending their stories, and they say, hey, I like what you guys are doing. We want our stories to, we want you guys to bring our stories to life with your illustrations. Because when we send out promotions for the stories, even if people are not attracted to the titles, the illustrations always get them. They're like, hey, what is this again? And you know, they want to read it. And when they start, you see people disturbing us. When are you publishing the next episode? And we say, wait till next week, and stuff like that. So we thought of a name. We said the name has to be fun and interesting, something that is very Nigerian. And then we thought of the name Yimu Central. Then it just came. We were both brainstorming one day, and then we said Yimu Central. It's funny, we can't really explain it in full, but it's nice. It's a place, it's a community where dreams live and visions soar. People can express themselves, people can be who they want to be, and people can really enjoy reading and writing again.
I was checking the website. It looks very lovely. The publications are free. They are published for free. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if I have a book or I have a story, I send it to Yimu Central. What happens next? You just go ahead and illustrate it and publish.
Yes, this is basically what we do for now. Yeah, but until very recently, like he said, we delved into traditional publishing, where we will take your work and make it into a book that you can feel. It's no longer the e-copy, right? So that's it basically. You have a story, you send it to us, and we illustrate it, and we publish it.
How do you select the story? I'm guessing you have quite a number of stories that come to you. How do you pick the ones you finally publish?
Yes, for now, I'm the editor of Yimu Central, So we rarely turn people down, because like he said, we're trying to revive the reading and writing culture in Africa. So it's a big challenge for me, because I have to go through a whole lot of work, but we don't say no. No matter how bad your work is, there is some light, there is some sense if truly it can be properly taken care of. So I do the editing and I put them up. So for now, we don't reject works.
This is interesting. Two young entrepreneurs. Now you are the graphics guy.
And I'm the writer and the stroke editor. You know, yeah. So because when we started, we didn't have so many works. We didn't have any work actually. I had to write most of our first issues.
It looked easy back then.
Yeah, it wasn't. I remember then he had to write with a lot of pen names, so it doesn't look like it's the same person writing everything.
Yeah, I had to write under so many pseudonyms. So as in for like the first 1 month, we had no entries. So I had to keep writing. I was writing day, night. You know, it was crazy. But
now, what has this experience taught you about writing talents in Nigeria? You must have seen something.
Writing in Nigeria is not what I see. As in, it's painful that as a writer in Nigeria, in fact, when you come out and say you're a writer, everybody looks at you like, a writer, what do you write? Yeah. You know, writing in Nigeria is almost dead. That's the truth. It's painful, but in fact, my next book, I'm working on a book right now, The Greatest Writer Who Ever Lived. It's about the challenges of a writer in Nigeria. It's horrendous. It's crazy. And we're really working on it right now in Yimu Central, so we can organize a platform where we can pay writers, no matter how little. Writers are hungry people. Writers are, I mean, it's crazy, but we're not recognized. Except you have to somehow get one big award, or somehow you breaking out, getting published. It's a whole lot.
Channels Television presents the Channels Book Club Prize for Literature, where one student in Nigeria stands a chance of winning the top prize of a sponsored trip to the 2013 Frankfurt Book Fair in Frankfurt, Germany, 50,000 Naira worth of books and exciting consolation prizes for the runners-up. How to participate? Candidates should read and write not more than 1,500 words on Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. The submitted essay must have a title, the candidate's full name, contact number, school, principal's name and contact. Essays should be sent to the Channels Book Club at channelstv.com. For further information, visit www.channelstv.com or call Kunle on 080-333-20974 or Orelua on 0813-845-7084. Entry closes August the 31st, 2013. The Channels Book Club Prize for Literature, supported by Lufthansa German Airline, the Turner Books and Goethe Institute.
Eleven books shortlisted for 2013 edition of the Nigeria Prize for Literature. Today, 12th August 2013, in Lagos, Nigeria, the Advisory Board for the Nigeria Prize for Literature approved an initial shortlist of 11 out of the 201 books submitted for the 2013 edition of the prize. The list in alphabetical order of the authors' surnames is as follows. 1. Ake Afam, with the book Letter Home and Biafran Nights. 2. Ede Amatorisero, with the book Globetrotter and Hitler's Children. 3. Egbewo Gebinyo, with the book Mash Boy and Other Poems. 4. Eke Ikwo, with the book Symphony of Becoming. 5. Gumba Obari, with the book Length of Eyes. 6. Ipa Diola Tade, with the book The Sahara Testaments. 7. Lanko Okimba, 7 Stations Up the Stairways. 8. Nadi Amu, Through the Window of a Sand Castle. 9. Mwakama Ubi, Beth Cry. 10. Ogochukwu Promise, Wild Letters. Raji Remy, Sea of My Mind.
A release of the shortlist of 3, which will take place in October. And the very final list, of course, will be will be done at the Prince International World Conference, which is held, as you know, in October every year, on the 9th of October. So you won't have to have long to wait before you get both the short list of 3 and the final name of the winner.
Our book of the week is Abraham Oshoko's stunning graphic novel titled June 12, 1993, Annulment. When you talk about classics, this is one. Please get yourself a copy and enjoy reading it. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.